Hello and welcome to Winchester Now, our weekly roundup of some of the news stories from around our city. I'm Mary Blaxland. Stay with us as we journey with the Bus of Hope and Santa's Sleigh. We visit the Christmas card shop and Salvation Army, and we have our community shout-outs too. Winchester Radio. It's called the Bus of Hope and it's bringing help to young people in Winchester. The vehicle is used to visit schools and community centres offering group discussion and one-to-one support. The project was launched by the Vineyard Church 2 years ago, but this term volunteers took delivery of a new double-decker and plan to expand the scheme. The motto is somewhere to go, something to do and someone to talk to. Here's Andy Clark from Vineyard Church.
The bus we're sitting in at the moment has just come to us. We're the sort of second users of it. It's in the process of being converted and it's going out to support various projects around the city dealing with young people's mental health.
And tell me a bit about what the bus looks like for our listeners who can't see it. Tell me a bit about what we have on here.
Okay, so it was originally a working serviceable double-decker bus, and since it came into the charitable sector it's been given a bright blue wrap with lots of pictures and the words Bus of Hope down the side. The interior is being gradually taken out and replaced with more user-friendly seating and areas, and we're in the process of installing a series of games consoles and other activities like that.
So tell me a bit about some of the work that you're able to do with this bus.
So at the moment the bus is going to Henry Beaufort School in Winchester every Wednesday. They host an event called Wellbeing Wednesday for their pupils. As a secondary school they're quite advanced in looking after the mental health of the sort of the entire student population, not just those that you may traditionally think really need help, but over the whole of the student population. So we take the bus in. The bus is used for one-to-one mentoring sessions. It's used as a drop-in at lunchtime for various pupils to come on board, and then in the afternoon at the moment it is playing host to a mental health and wellbeing course for girls.
Bus of Hope, how desperately needed is it?
That's a really interesting question. Quite rightly, young people's mental health has come quite high up the political and educational agenda, but there's a gap between starting the conversations and actually resourcing, looking after the young people once they've had a realisation that they might need some form of help. Budgets for everybody are shrinking and costs are increasing, and we see a space that we can step into to provide some of that service, to be able to bring some degree of, it's almost resilience back into young people.
And how popular has it been so far? What sort of response have you had?
We actually have too many young people to fit on it come a lunchtime. So the lunchtimes we've had so far, we've had 70 or 80 young people wanting to come on board over a split lunch hour. So that's about 35, 40 each lunch sitting, and that's more than really we can cope with, and that's completely voluntary. The one-to-one mentoring is done in support of the school and their welfare team as they stand, so that's just as full as they can make it. There's plenty of space for more young people who need that sort of help.
And what do the young people say to you about this? Is it somewhere that they feel they can open up and talk about what they're feeling?
Yes, they do, and it's strange because we were actually worried about turning up with a big blue, almost comedy-looking bus, wondering whether it would be relevant for young people. But they genuinely seem to love it, and they are opening up and they are engaging, be it one-to-one in the small groups or the lunchtimes, just coming in and sitting, playing board games with peers, and then interacting with the various volunteers that go out with the bus.
You must be quite proud then of the difference that it's making.
We are becoming proud of it, yes. We can see, however, with each visit that we do to the school, how much more there is. And there are many other schools within the Winchester area that it would be great to be reaching to.
So what are the plans for the future?
The plans for the future are to carry on with the day a week at Henry B. We are looking at working quite closely with Winchester Youth Counselling to set up a mobile counselling centre with them, going to different parts of the city just to try and reach young people who have already hit a point of mental health crisis, for whom it's not practical to say, can you come to a centre in the centre of town, or can you come to here or there? The idea is to try and get us to them rather than just rely on them making the effort to get to us. So gradually more and more different groups are going to take on the challenge of setting up and using the bus as a place to get out and actually do some good with the young people. We're always looking for volunteers, particularly qualified mental health professionals, that level of volunteer drivers as well. It might be a double-decker bus, but bizarrely, as far as the DVLA is concerned, it's just a private car. So with training, anybody can drive it, and we're able to provide the full training. So we're always looking for trainee drivers and volunteers that can just come along and help run an activity.
And make a difference.
Yes, and make a difference. That's got to be the aim, and that's why we're doing it. We're trying to show young people that there are particularly older adults that care, that aren't just their parents or teachers. Young people do get a fairly rough ride with the press and what have you, and I think it does make a difference to them just to be told, you're going to be all right. You're going to be all right, don't worry.
Andy Clark there from Winchester Vineyard Church.
Winchester Radio.
There's just a few more days left to donate to the Salvation Army's toy appeal in Winchester. A survey by the national charity published this week found 54% of people are worried about the cost of living and 28% are struggling to pay for presents this year. Anna O'Brien spoke to Josh Herbert about the situation in our city.
Our toy appeal has been running for decades now, and this year we're running it again. We are essentially gifting toys and presents to families that would really struggle to make ends meet, and opportunities to just show love and value to families and children who might not have anything on Christmas Day.
And it must be so poignant because Christmas time, we think about families getting together and celebrating, and especially if you've got young children, opening the presents under the tree, all the excitement of that Christmas morning. Perhaps it's something a lot of us take for granted, but it's so tough financially for so many people. And in your work through the year, what effect have you seen on the folks you help with the high cost of living?
Through the cost of living crisis that's happened, we've really noticed that through our community partnerships as well, there has been a real increase in people who are in need right now. For us to just offer the little bit that we do, supporting the families, and the last few years we've offered presents for around 150 people on average for the last 3 or 4 years. So since COVID, it's almost tripled the need for us. It's been really a privilege and an honour for us to be able to just help a little bit, because Christmas is expensive at the best of times, but this year and last year, especially with cost of living crisis that's happening, is an extra thing that is just a pressure on people that if we can help alleviate a little bit, which is a real honour.
And it's such a huge thing because families don't want to get into debt and have all that hanging over them in 2024. So for our listeners, if they're in the position where they could afford to help, how can they get involved, and what kind of donations are you most in need for this year?
We are more than willing to accept donations of new and unwrapped toys that can be given into our building or through one of our donation points, so the Carol Centre in Stanmore or the Earthian Zero Waste shop on Parchment Street. We'll accept those presents, we'll sort them, we'll wrap them, we'll deliver them. We have 2 wrapping days, so if you would like to wrap presents with us at any point, please do get in contact with us and we will give you the times and the dates for that as well. I'll give you our email address at the end of the interview.
And what kind of gifts would you most appreciate for families? What sort of things should people be buying to help?
For the younger age room, toys are always a great hand. We always struggle historically with older children. So be that with like a nice book or maybe a makeup kit or something like that. We do tend to struggle as we get to giving gifts for 14 plus.
And it must be such a relief for the families that you help. I mean, how do the families get these presents? I mean, how are they referred to you? Because I presume a lot of people, they may not be open about the fact they're struggling. How do you identify the families to support through the toy appeal at the Salvation Army?
So we have a number of referral agencies that will help us with families, but we are also, since COVID, we have been open to self-referrals as well. So anyone, because there is quite a number of people who are above the bracket of requiring help of referral agencies, but actually could be really struggling to make ends meet, especially with rising mortgage rates and all of that stuff. So we do accept self-referrals. So anyone who feels like they're in a position where they are just going to be struggling and this appeal could just help a little bit for them, please do get in contact. We will love to have a conversation and see how we can support you as well.
And you mentioned earlier around 150 presents that you've provided in the past. How many presents are you hoping to get for Christmas 2023?
So on our list already, we have well over 100, and I'm still waiting to hear from a few of our referral agencies at this point. So I'm expecting for us to get to around the 150 mark again.
And before we move away from the toy appeal, I am just going to shout about the Salvation Army while I'm talking to you, because you've got so many fantastic events going on during December. And I know you're a small team in Winchester, and you just work incredibly hard to bring the community together and support those who are struggling.
Absolutely. So, yeah, as a Salvation Army, we are here to try and make sure that everyone feels welcome, loved and valued. That is what we try to do in everything, because that's what we believe we've been given by God, and we want to love our community with the same way. We also have our carol service on the 17th. We have carols and coffee the second Friday of December. On Christmas Eve, we're going to have a lovely time of carols on Parchment Street with turkey sandwiches in our building. It's going to be a real community time of just opportunities for us to be together at Christmas and be community again.
And you and your wife do a huge amount of work for the Salvation Army, for the community. I know you've got a young family yourselves. Are you going to get a bit of a Christmas break this year?
Absolutely, yes. Yeah, we work hard, and once a Christmas Day hits, this year we're doing a Christmas Eve meal rather than a Christmas Day meal, so that we can actually just enjoy our daughter's first Christmas together. And then we've got family coming, which would be lovely.
And for anyone who would like to get involved and maybe make a donation for the Salvation Army Toy Appeal this year, I know the deadline for that is the 8th of December. They can get in touch with you about that, or if they want to find out about the wrapping days, or maybe come along to one of the events. So how can they find out more about the Salvation Army?
We are on Facebook, so please search for Winchester Salvation Army UK. All our information will be on there as well. But also you can email us at winchester@salvationarmy.org.uk. That's winchester@salvationarmy.org.uk, and we will more than happy answer any questions you've got about anything that you either want to help us with or any events that we are running.
Josh Herbert from Winchester Salvation Army talking there to Anna O'Brien. A final call has been made for people to come forward for their winter flu and COVID vaccination, with the national booking system closing next week. So far in Hampshire, more than 485,000 jabs have been given out since September this year, including people aged 65 and over and frontline healthcare workers. The 14th of December is the last day to make a booking.
And now with some local stories in the news this week, I'm Ron Venturi. A planning application to redevelop Bushfield Camp, which was submitted to the council at the end of October, has received almost 400 objections. The application for the former army base includes a hotel, student accommodation, shops and homes. A decision is due next year. A consultation begins on Monday into proposed changes at Winchester Hospital, as reported on Winchester Now last week. Up to £900 million is being invested into plans for a new hospital near Basingstoke and an upgrade to hospital buildings in Winchester. The new hospital would provide specialist and emergency care, while the Winchester Hospital would provide planned operations, an urgent treatment centre and midwife-led maternity services. It's a challenging week for rail passengers in Winchester. There have been delays and cancellations on the main line into London following the discovery of a damaged footbridge between Woking and Brookwood. Work has also been taking place following a nearby landslip. Ongoing strike action and an overtime ban by the union ASLEF has also impacted services. South Western Railway is advising passengers to check before they travel. Almost 300 people attended a recent Jobs and Opportunities Fair in Winchester. It was organised by the City Council and Job Centre Plus and took place at the Sport and Leisure Centre. The event saw a range of businesses gather to meet with those looking for work. Organisations were also on hand to give advice and support with the cost of living, interviews and CVs. A number of roles were offered to job seekers directly on the day.
It's less than 2 weeks till last posting day, so if you're yet to buy your Christmas cards, this next story may interest you. Winchester's charity Christmas card shop has been part of the city for more than 40 years. Each year it raises thousands of pounds for good causes. This year it's in a new home in the Brooks Shopping Centre, and Chris Traylor went along to find out more.
Well, I'm Kathy Wallace, and I've been helping to sell charity Christmas cards since 2002.
So when was the card shop set up and why?
Oh, I think it was set up about 40 years before that. A group of people decided it was a good idea to sell charity cards because it raises money. It's now become a real tradition in Winchester that people like to come and choose their cards.
And what charities are you supporting?
There's about 45 charities, I think. Most of them are big national charities. Some of them are national but smaller ones that you've never heard of. Perennial Gardeners Benevolent Society. I guess you've heard of it if you're a gardener. Cancer Research, Alzheimer's, all the obvious ones. And we've got Home Start, a local charity.
So what's your personal favourite card design?
That's a difficult one. I quite like quite a variety, but there's some really beautiful ones. There's some really colourful Bethlehem scenes. Always like a robin. We have to have a robin, don't we? And there are a few modern designs that are really quite eye-catching as well. Badgers are a big thing this year. Badgers and hedgehogs.
With the cost of living crisis, are people still sending cards, especially with the rising price of stamps?
That's a really interesting question, because actually, having been involved for so many years, I can tell you that the number of cards and the amount of money we raise dropped every year since they changed the postage rates when they invented the large letter. We just saw the statistics drop from then on, and that's continuing, obviously, because the prices keep going up. People that come in say they're buying fewer this year until they get some from friends that they'd forgotten, and then they come back and buy an extra pack.
So what are some of the biggest selling cards?
That depends, actually, because some people will go for the charity, so Cancer Research cards will sell. Within that, there are some designs that sell better than others. As I said, robins always sell.
Are people looking for religious cards or mainly just jolly cards?
Again, a mixture. Some people really like the religious. Doves have done very well this year. A dove over Bethlehem seems appropriate. And the badgers, they're selling well.
What difference do you make to the charity?
Actually now, Cards for Good Causes are producing the cards, so most of the charities haven't even, done the production, they haven't sent them to the distribution hub. All of the work is being done by Cards for Good Causes, and it's pure profit that gets handed to the charities at the end of the season, so they get some money for nothing.
So how much work goes into setting up the shop and producing the cards?
For the last couple of years, Cards for Good Causes have done a huge print run and done most of the work. I think that's the most efficient way to produce the cards, and it certainly brings the costs down. They have an idea how much stock will be sold in each shop, so they send out an appropriate mixture of cards. And on the day when we got permission to use this shop, we received 6 pallets loaded up with tables and boxes, and it was all hands to the deck to unpack and create a shop out of a dusty, empty shop unit.
And lastly, why do you personally volunteer?
It's a nice thing to do something where everybody's working for the better good. Everybody's pulling together to do something. It's teamwork.
That was Kathy Wallace at the charity Christmas card shop in the Brooks. The shop is located on the bottom floor of the Brooks Centre and is open Monday to Saturday from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m.
Hi there, I'm Paul Blitz, and it's time for the weekly shout-outs. Let's start by giving a big cheer to the Winchester Water Polo Club, who've won a silver award at the prestigious Swim England National Awards. They've received the accolade in a ceremony held at Birmingham University. The event saw more than 1,000 nominations from across the country. The club, which meets at the Winchester Sports and Leisure Centre, was founded in 2021 and now has over 60 members. There was a murder and a mystery at a recent charity fundraiser. The special event in Twyford was organised in aid of Wessex Cancer Support and Fox's Future, a group set up to try and save a girl guiding centre in the New Forest. A thank you has been given to all who came along, and a whopping £2,600 was raised, and a lot of fun was had by all. Winchester's newest visitor attraction, that's Anglo-Saxon Experience 878 AD, has won 2 more awards. The attraction is a partnership between the Hampshire Cultural Trust and the gaming firm Ubisoft. It won a gong in the Games Industry Awards and also in the British Interactive Media Association Awards. Staff say they're delighted. And a shout out now to Santa, well, hundreds of them to be precise, who ran through Winchester on Sunday. Fundraisers dressed as Father Christmas braved the rain and cold to take part in the annual Santa Run. The 5k event raises money for Naomi House and Jack's Place and brings a smile to all of those watching too. And finally, congratulations to the King Charles pub in Kingsworthy, which has been voted Best Village Pub in the Fuller's Pub of the Year Awards. The pub with its royal name became a focal point for the coronation celebrations earlier this year and media coverage. It's the 2nd year running that they've achieved award success. If you have any good news like this that you'd like to share, do get in touch. More great shout-outs next week.
Winchester Radio.
Now from the Bus of Hope to the Sleigh of Joy, the Round Table Santa Sleigh has been touring a different area of the city each night. People have come out onto the streets to see Santa as he travels around with music playing and his elves alongside. Winchester Radio caught up with his fans in Kingsworthy. What do you think about seeing Santa?
Oh, it's great. It's fantastic. It's just so nice to see something like this. Community getting together, raising money. It's fantastic.
I think it's fantastic. It's great for adults, for the children, and everybody loves this sort of thing, so it's brilliant.
Brought my grandson. He's loving the experience of seeing Santa down there. He's just gone down to have his picture taken with him.
How old is he?
6.
And so he loves all of this?
Oh, yes. He's. I think it's really the first year he's sort of like thought about Father Christmas and that, and he's loving it. Great big list and everything.
What do you think about seeing Santa today?
It's fun.
Have you been over to meet him?
Yeah, I took a photo with him.
What did he say to you?
Merry Christmas.
What do you think about Santa here?
I think he's really nice. Sometimes, because sometimes you're naughty, you don't get any presents, and I also think he's fun.
Yeah, he's good fun because he's dancing, very good fun. He's dancing, you get everyone, he got a little sweetie. I think it's great. It's good fun. Just for a few minutes to see him, I think it's really good fun. Everyone's enjoying it.
Oh, my kids absolutely love it. Every year we always make an effort to come out and show them and see them, and now we've got another little one. He's come out as well.
What does it mean to them to be able to see him this close?
Oh, God, the little he's over there with his mum. Yeah, he was breaking down the front door wanting to get out.
We love seeing Santa's sleigh. It's very exciting to do it every year.
Yeah, the kids are super excited about seeing Santa. They love doing this every year.
And what does it mean to them to be able to see him this close?
I think my 5-year-old is super excited. I think my 3-year-old is slightly more nervous about, actually seeing the big man.
When we're finally kissed goodnight.
Each day the sleigh raises money for local charities. In Kingsworthy, donations will go to the Girl Guides and Worthy's youth football girls team. Here's Harriet, Leah and Nadia, who collected donations for their team. And tell me a bit about what you're doing tonight.
Today we were raising money for charity, football teams and guides.
What's it like being a member of the Worthies girls?
It's actually really fun. There's loads of football teams around the world that play for Worthies as well. Like there's boys Worthies and there's girls Worthies, and it's really, really fun.
And how important is it that you're able to raise this money today?
It's very important to everyone that plays for Worthies, so we can get better goals, kits, and of course for charity.
And what do you enjoy about playing for the Worthies?
I love it because of all the support you get. The coaches and all the parents are there for you every step of the way, and they're so supportive.
And is it lovely to be out tonight with Santa?
Yes.
And if you want to see Santa, visit winchestersantasleigh.co.uk to find out where he's visiting next. Finally today, Winchester has been voted first in the South East and second in the UK as the happiest place to live. The survey by Rightmove asked thousands of people across the country how they felt about where they live. Winchester came second to Richmond-on-Thames. The most important contributors to happiness were feeling a sense of pride, belonging and community. And that's all for this week on Winchester Now. We'll be back with more stories next week, including an interview with Winchester Basics Bank about the demand for help this Christmas, and we visit Marwell Zoo at Christmas time. I do hope you'll join us. Until then, goodbye.
Thanks for listening to Winchester Now, a weekly roundup of stories from Winchester Radio. If you have a story to share with us, please let us know. You can drop us an email. We're news@winchester.radio, and you can follow us on social media. Just search for Winchester Radio.
Winchester Radio.